Well, hello, my friends, my fellow historians, and my fellow ship lovers. In particular, lovers of the SS Edmund Fitzgerald. Today is Monday, November 10th, 2025, and it was 50 years ago today that the Great Lakes supership SS Edmund Fitzgerald sank in Lake Superior, just miles away from Whitefish Point. Over the years, there have been speculation as well as bits and pieces of information coming in. I like to put the latest together and give you a short presentation or just kind of my own little tribute to the SS Edmund Fitzgerald and the possible causes of her loss. Now, having lost her radar before her sinking, the Edmund Fitzgerald was relying on her traveling partner, the SS Arthur Anderson, for guidance. Her captain would be Bernie Cooper. The two giant ships would elect to travel a more northern route in hopes of being sheltered from the fury of the storm. They would, however, change their courses to a more southerly route in an attempt to get to the Soux Lockes. Captain Bernie Cooper would advise Captain Ernest McSorley that his ship was traveling too close to the Caribou Shoal. Around 3:30 p.m., the Edmund Fitzgerald would inform the Arthur M. Anderson that they had sustained damage. This damage would include a downed fence rail, the loss of a couple vents, and that the ship was listing. They would also inform the Arthur M. Anderson that the pumps were running to empty the water that they had taken on. The last transmission that the Arthur M. Anderson would receive from the Edmund Fitzgerald would be Captain Ernest McSorley stating that they were holding their own. At approximately 7:10 p.m. on November 10th of 1975, the SS Edmund Fitzgerald would vanish from the Arthur M. Anderson's radar. Once contact was lost, Captain Bernie Cooper would alert the Coast Guard as to the potential loss of the ship. At 10:53 p.m., a search plane would be dispatched by the Coast Guard to search the area. And later, around 1 a.m., a rescue helicopter would be dispatched as well. On November 11th, 1975, at 12:45 p.m., a tugboat would enter the area. The Arthur M. Anderson would also return to the area to search for traces of the Edmund Fitzgerald and her crew of 29. It would be on November 14th of 1975 that the Edmund Fitzgerald would be detected on the bottom of Lake Superior through Magnetic Anomaly by the U.S. Navy aircraft, and there were no survivors found. Also known as the Toledo Express, the beautiful SS Edmund Fitzgerald was launched on June 7th of 1958. At the time, the Edmund Fitzgerald was the largest ship on the Great Lakes. She would be 729 feet long with a breadth of 75 feet. She is also 39 feet in height, and the huge 13,630-ton vessel was titled as Hull number 301 and registered as US 227437. She was built at the Great Lakes Engineering Works in Ecorse, Michigan. She would make a career of transporting taconite from Duluth to Detroit, Toledo, and other ports on the Great Lakes. On the morning of November 10th, around 7 a.m., the Edmund Fitzgerald would be around the center of Lake Superior, roughly 17 hours into her voyage, which would be approximately 1/3 of the way to her destination. With the severity of the storm increasing, little did her crew know that within 12 hours she would be lost. The less restrictive regulations regarding freeboard or the height of a fully loaded ship, an inclusion of 3,600 tons of extra weight that would be loaded on to maximize the trip. As a result, the Edmund Fitzgerald would sit nearly 4 feet lower in the water, and the resulting waves from the storm would place greater stress on her hull. The huge load that she had to carry was displaced through 3 holds. Each one was the height of a 3-story building. While the ship is in stormy waters, a cargo can shift, causing listing in the ship. Sitting lower in the water can add to the problem. The Edmund Fitzgerald had a centerline bulkhead. This design would keep the water from one side from going to the other back and forth. However, once the ship starts to list, the amount of water it can take on before it gets to the ship's drain can be substantial. Just 1 cubic meter of water weighs 1 ton. A listing ship could possibly take on thousands of tons of water before getting to the center drain of the ship. According to the official inquiry, the findings were as follows. The Safety Board considered many factors during the investigation, including stability, hull strength, operating practices, adequacy of weathertight closures, hatch cover strength, possible grounding, vessel design, loading practices, and weather forecasting. The National Transportation Safety Board determines that the probable cause of this accident was a sudden massive flooding of the cargo hold due to the collapse of one or more hatch covers. Before the hatch covers collapsed, flooding into the ballast tanks and tunnel through the topside damage and flooding into the cargo hold through non-weathertight hatch covers caused a reduction of freeboard and a list. The hydrostatic and hydrodynamic forces imposed on the hatch covers by heavy boarding seas at this reduced the freeboard, and with the list caused the hatch covers to collapse. Contributing to the accident was a lack of transverse, weathertight bulkheads in the cargo hold and the reduction of freeboard authorized by the 1969, 1971, and 1973 amendments to the Great Lakes Load Line Regulations. Incidentally, I'll be doing a video on the complete National Transportation Safety Board report, as well as the amendments in a later video. Now, since the sinking of the ship, there have been many theories as to the cause of the disaster, from faulty equipment to rogue waves. In theory, the rogue waves would drive the bow section down towards the bottom of the lake, breaking the ship, causing rapid sinking. Another theory is a quick succession of multiple rogue waves at one time. This incident would be described as the Three Sisters. This would involve quickly developing weather systems that create 3 consecutive large waves that would strike in quick succession. The theory being that the ship may be able to withstand 1 giant wave, but not 3 within a short time period. In a recent dive to the wreck site, some new evidence has come to light. It is many of these factors combined rather than one single situation that may have caused her demise. From one former crew member named Tom Walton, who was a cook on the Edmund Fitzgerald 12 years prior to her disappearance, would note the concerning bending and twisting of the ship on her journeys. He also recalls strange and disturbing noises the ship would make while bending. Was water allowed to enter through the top? Was she carrying too much weight? Did she strike a shoal that caused damage to the hull, weakening it? Well, according to the Lake Carriers Association, the Edmund Fitzgerald had a grounding incident near one of the islands. It was implied that the incident damaged the bottom of the ship. The constant rocking and bending motion the ship had to endure resulted in more water invading the ship, causing her to ultimately lose her buoyancy. Even her maintenance and repairs would come into question by her former crew members. It had been learned that the ship had broken into 2 pieces later on. Her bow section is sitting upright, whereas the stern section of the ship is upside down. The Edmund Fitzgerald broke at hatch number 8, and this is where the taconite would have been loaded onto the ship. There is now speculation that the ship had broken apart while she was still on the surface of the water prior to her sinking. Though new bits of information continue to trickle in such as missing vents or hatch covers, the lack of witnesses will leave everything to speculation. And the fact is, no one will ever know for sure what happened. Today, the Edmund Fitzgerald lies approximately 529 feet of water below the surface of Lake Superior. The location of the wreck site is 46 degrees 59 by 54 north by 85 degrees 6 by 36 west. Diving trips to the SS Edmund Fitzgerald are no longer allowed. The site has been deemed a grave site. The Edmund Fitzgerald is one of the estimated 10,000 shipwrecks in the Great Lakes, but she is the one that is the most famous. She was made famous by Gordon Lightfoot's song, Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, which went to number 2 in the charts back in 1976. This is November, Edmund Fitzgerald month, and I'll be sharing some more videos with you guys soon. So I thank you so much for watching, and until my next video, I'll talk to you guys soon.